Hey, Sky here. Today I want to talk to you about Husqvarna tractor common problem. And I tell you what, I've looked all over the internet, looked all over YouTube, and everybody's got videos on how to solve these problems. But this particular one is pretty common, and that is that the tractor doesn't go as fast forward anymore like it used to, and reverse still works. And there's a couple of solutions out there. There's a couple of different problems. Obviously, transaxles can go bad. Grass buildup could happen underneath. It'll keep the brake from disengaging completely. Belts can go bad. So all of this stuff is addressed somewhere on the YouTube, on the internet, by all the regulars. But I looked into this tractor, and none of that stuff applied to this particular tractor. But I did find a problem, and we solved it. So check it out. Alright, so today we're looking at this Husqvarna YTH22V42. This thing is experiencing a problem that is very common with Husqvarna and maybe even some Craftsman on other tractors. The problem is that it will go forward slow compared to what it used to be like when it was new, although reverse seems pretty peppy. So let me show you what's going on here. I've already taken a deck off, but I have a driveway here that's got a slope, and I'm going to drive it up the slope and forward, and then I'm going to drive it in reverse and show you the difference. And what we're looking at today, just to give you a model number, the YTH22V42, manufactured, looks like in 2016. Alright, so we're going to check the usual suspects. The owner of this tractor told me that he just put a new belt on. So if we take a look at the belt actually is new. And it's actually pretty snug. It's not excessively loose. One of the things that you want to check for if this happens, so this is the brake lever up here, and then underneath here is a bracket that sometimes if you let too much grass and gunk build up in here, then the brake doesn't fully disengage, and it allows the belt to be a little bit slack, and it doesn't have as much forward motion. But the owner looked that up on YouTube as well, and he knew to keep that clean, and I could feel underneath it there's absolutely nothing there. So let me change the camera view and show you what I'm talking about. Alright, so if you see this lever right here, it goes up and down when you press the brake. Well, if there's grass buildup in here, that lever can't drop all the way down against the frame, but that's obviously not the case here. Alright, so this is a hydrostatic transmission, and it's got this pedal set up so that you got only basically one metal bracket that connects the forward and reverse pedal together. So what's happening is when you press the forward pedal down with your foot, it just stops right there. When you push it in reverse, that's not the case. It goes down as far as it needs to go in reverse. So the question is, when it was new, it wasn't doing that in such a short push down or a short stroke down. What's changed? Well, let me show you where it's actually hitting, and it's inside there. Alright, so with the hood open, when you get down way underneath there, and you see that bit with the teeth on it right there. Let's see if we can get it to focus properly. Anyway, that's what we're looking at. And that piece goes up and down when you press on the forward and reverse pedal. What's happening is right there. See, it's hitting the frame of the tractor Oh, well, there you go, get back into focus. So it's hitting the frame of the tractor. Why is that happening? It wasn't happening like that when it was new. So let's dig into it a little further. Okay, so with the tractor pushed up against the curb, and I have a rock on the seat for weight, what I'm going to do is I'm going to push on this pedal. Try not to crush my head while I do this. But I want to show you what's going on back here by the transaxle. So hopefully you were able to see the transaxle flexing back and forth as I went forward and reverse. And so we're going to dig into that and take a closer look. Alright, so here we are under the tractor and looking at the transaxle. And take a look at this. There's a bracket here that's loose and there's a busted off bolt right there. So this thing was meant to help hold the transaxle in place, and hopefully you saw in a little bit ago where the transaxle was actually just flexing back and forth, and I think that has to do with the amount of travel allowed, because this rod right here, yeah, get that focus, this rod right here is what controls the transaxle when you push the pedal forward and backwards, and I think that the amount of travel is being affected by the flex on the transaxle. So we're going to get these wheels off, and I think we're going to have to drop the transaxle out because this feels like a bolt that needs to be drilled out and replaced. Alright, we got her jacked up in the air. Let's pull this little rubber cap off. Hopefully this is supple enough. Yeah, that one comes off nice. Okay. And then we're looking at an E-clip here. I got a small screwdriver. Let's pry the E-clip off. Okay, so we got the E-clip off. Big washer, take that off. And now there is a square key in here, so let's keep the keyway in the upright position. Hopefully this isn't rusted. It's not. It's good. And drop the key. So there's a little key, square key, and it comes out of that groove there. Make sure you don't lose that. You're going to need that before you put things back together. Alright, let's take a look at this transaxle from this angle now. Here's a bracket that's mounted to the transaxle here in the frame. We want to make sure that is tight. Also, there are 4 bolts here. That we want to make sure that's tight. But in this case, on the other side is the problem. So once again, we got the 2 bolts here. But look at this bracket. This bracket is loose, and it was attached to the transaxle here, which looks to be a bolt that's broken off. And I think that is what is allowing this whole thing to shift back and forth. Oh yeah, the ambulance coming. So I think though, I'm going to have to take this transaxle off in order to tap out or drill out that for a new bolt. So that's a project in and of itself. Let's get to it. Alright, so I don't know if there's any right way or wrong way to do this. So we're just going to start disconnecting things from the transaxle that need to be disconnected to make this happen. So let's start off with this. This is the brake lever here. Looks like there's just a little cotter pin here. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to take the spring, if I can, put it back on here. Alright, well this we would take off, except it's already loose. And we're going to wait on these 4 bolts up here first. Let's get to the other side. Alright, up in there, this rod right here is where the actual control pedal is connected to, and it looks like it's connected right here with a pin. So we're going to push out that pin, try to get this rod out. Can't get it from above. There we go. All right. And that rod pops right off. Here we go. Now we'll take this bracket off, and we got to get the belt. So I don't see anything else connected to this thing. And then these 4 bolts. These 4 bolts here, 2 here, and 2 on the other side. Alright, now what I'm going to do now is to lower it down to the ground and put that tire under it. Loosen up those 4 bolts and then hopefully raise the tractor back up and the transaxle will stay down. That's the plan anyway. Alright, I'll have to raise it up, and I think the only thing left is the belt. Yeah, the belt is coming off. I gotta engage the parking brake though to loosen the belt up a little bit. Alright, let's hope the belt is... Oh, we got electrical connection here too. Gotta disconnect that. Belt. There we go. Let's not break any of those fins. There we go, the drive belt is off. I'm gonna get this electrical connection off. Gotta make sure this release lever is out of the hole, and I think we're clear. Let's raise up the tractor and see. Alright, well, now the fun part. Any project is removing the busted off bolt from a hole. So lots of ways to do this, and the first thing we'll try is to put a little dent in the middle of it. And then I'll start with a small drill bit. Start drilling. We'll see if I got a bit that's a little bit sharper. That one's better. Alright, so I drilled into a little bit. It's a little off center, but I think it's loose, the broken bolt. So now I'm just going to take a little chisel. Come on now, it moved a little bit ago. Alright, we finally got the broken bolt out right here. We chewed up the hole a little bit, so we might have to re-thread that or even helicoil that. Here we go. I really messed that up, and so that is, as far as I could figure, a 5/16, because what it is, I actually took the bolt out of this other side from this other bracket. That's 5/16. So I'm gonna kind of use what's called the helicoil to fix that hole. And helicoil, what you do is you drill it out, in this case with a 21/64 drill bit, and then you re-tap the hole with the tap that comes with the kit here, and then you turn in these new threads, and you have threads that supposedly are stronger than the original. So that's what's happening now. Alright, I'm going to start with the 21/64 drill bit. That's to the bottom of the hole, so we're going to stop there. Alright, so I've got the tap there. It came with the Helicoil kit, so it's going to go in there, but unfortunately the case is too high here to allow my my turning tool. So what I've done is I've grabbed myself a 3/8 socket, and it'll go on there with an extension, and I can start turning my tap in. So let's do this. I'll back it off a little bit. Seems to be working okay like this. I've never done this before. It's slipping a little bit, but we are making progress. I'm going to blow out that hole and go a little further. Okay, I think we're at the end. Alright, we got new threads in there, and now we're ready to put the actual helicoil in place. Alright, so unfortunately the camera wasn't recording when I put that thread in there, but basically this is what happens. You got the helicoil thread itself. See that tab on the end there? You insert it on the end of the tool here, like so, all the way, and then you basically put it in there and you turn it into those new threads that you just cut. And then once it gets just below the surface, then you back this out and the threads are left in there. So now we got to reach in there and we got to just break off that little tab. Alright, so now with just a small screwdriver, I'm going to reach down there and just kind of like break that tab off. Alright, and hopefully this magnet I have here, not quite strong enough. Alright, let's see if I can blow it out of there. Not coming out. I actually think maybe it did come out. I just didn't see it came out so quickly. Anyway, there we go. We got new threads. And so with new threads, we got our 5/16 new bolt here. And we'll be able to bolt down that bracket. Now let's go put it back on the tractor, see if all of this work made a difference. Alright, so let's take this bracket off of here and put it down here on the new threads. Try to snug them up a little bit. Hopefully we'll line it up relatively close. And now I think it's time to lower the tractor back down onto the transmission, transaxle. Alright, I'm going to get the belt hooked up. This hooked up. And this hooked up. We want to make sure this hole lines up, and of course these holes, and the other side as well. Alright, now we got to start putting all the bolts back in place. Alright, so we got two of the bolts here. I'm going to raise this up a little bit. Make room for a couple more. Oops, wrong hole. Same thing on this side. Okay. Now, alright, now over here on the passenger side, I get this bracket bolted back in place. And I purposely left these other bolts back here loose. Keep that loose a little bit and go on the other side. Alright, now we got to get this bracket lined up. This is the one that was broken. And there it is. Of course. Alright, let's get some power. There we go. Alright, now we're going to go around and snug these up. This spring has to be put back in place. Let's get it done. This time I released the brake so that this will reach. Alright, let's get a better cotter pin. Alright. Now I'll press the brake down again so we can get the belt back on the transmission. Alright, with the brake, before what I did is I had to, when I took the belt off the pulley in the back, I also took it off of this pulley here to loosen it up more. And with the brake engaged, then that's loose. And if we disengage the brake, that should all tighten up. There we go. And double check to make sure it's on the transaxle up here. It is. And now we'll tighten up these 4 bolts. Okay, I think everything is connected. So let's put the tires on and see if this made a difference. Alright, when you put the tires back on, it would help to put the keyway upright, like so, and have all the parts you need. You got the key, the big washer, the E-clip, and the plastic cap. And also, make sure on this particular tractor we had this spacer and another big washer. Make sure that's there. line up the keyway, slide the key in place. Sometimes you might have to tap it in. The big washer and the E-clip. What I do is I have a big adjustable pliers here, and I just squeeze the E-clip down in place. There you go. And then work the plastic cap back over the top. There you go. And do the same for the other side. Alright, now what I really want to know now is if I push that pedal down, is it going to bottom out the same place it did before? Let's check it out. Well, it seems like it is a little bit. For the final test, we'll be taking it for a ride. There was no way that was going to happen before. I think okay, so it is still hitting when we press the pedal down here, down inside there. It's still hitting there, but it's still it's got some noticeable get up and go like it didn't have before. All right, so after kind of running around a little bit, it's got more speed, but I'm still not happy with it. I think improvements can be made, and I think where I'm going to make those improvements are down in there. So we're going to get this fuel tank out of our way so we can get into there. We need just a couple of 3/8 inch head bolts there. Take the gas tank off. Alright, so now we can get a better look down inside there. And again, if I press this gas pedal, or forward pedal, you'll see it's hitting right there. I'm also looking at the play on this thing. Well, one thing I'm thinking about is taking a die grinder to this, removing some material right here, and also removing some material right here, so this could go a little further. It wouldn't take much. Let's do it. nice. As far as now, when I bottom out the pedal, it doesn't hit there anymore. So I think that's about as good as we're gonna get. Let's take it for a ride. Okay, now let's get it back to the owner. Thanks for watching.